Most philosophers tried to explain how to live well. One philosopher tried to explain why that might be impossible. Arthur Schopenhauer understood human suffering too well because he did not see it as an accident, a failure, or a temporary condition. He saw it as the natural state of being alive, not because life is cruel, but because desire never stops. Schopenhauer believed that beneath every thought, every ambition, and every hope lies a blind force he called the will, not willpower, not motivation, but an unconscious drive that pushes life to continue, to want, to reach, to consume, and to repeat itself endlessly. You do not choose this force. You are born into it. From the moment you exist, you want, and the moment a desire is satisfied, another replaces it. Satisfaction never lasts. Relief is temporary. Calm is brief. Life oscillates, Schopenhauer said, between desire and boredom. Wanting hurts, having dulls, and between the two, suffering persists. This was not pessimism to him, it was observation. What made Schopenhauer disturbing was not that he noticed suffering, but that he refused to romanticize it. He rejected the idea that progress, morality, success, or optimism could overcome the basic structure of existence. To him, happiness was not a goal life naturally moves toward. It was a pause, a short interruption in a process that never truly rests. Most people, he believed, distract themselves from this truth. They chase pleasure, achievement, love, recognition, or comfort, believing these things will finally quiet the restlessness inside them. But the will does not quiet. It adapts. It turns every achievement into a baseline, every comfort into expectation, every pleasure into something that must be repeated or surpassed. This is why satisfaction fades so quickly. The problem is not that people choose the wrong goals. The problem is that the structure of desire itself guarantees dissatisfaction. Schopenhauer believed modern life would intensify this suffering, not reduce it. The more options people have, the more comparisons they make. The more comforts they enjoy, the less they tolerate discomfort. The more stimulation they receive, the harder it becomes to feel anything deeply. What we call burnout today, he would have called exhaustion of the will. A state where desire continues, but meaning collapses. He also understood something deeply unsettling about optimism. He believed that forced positivity was not hopeful, but dishonest. To insist that life is fundamentally good, he argued, is to ignore the quiet, constant friction that defines most human experience. Pain, frustration, loss, and longing are not exceptions, they are the rule. This is why Schopenhauer found modern ideas of happiness suspicious. He believed they promised something life could not deliver. And when people inevitably failed to feel fulfilled, they blamed themselves, not the promise. Perhaps his most uncomfortable insight was this: suffering is not evenly distributed, but it is universal. Even those who appear fortunate are not free. Wealth, status, and admiration do not silence the will. They often amplify it. Desire grows more refined, more demanding, more restless. Schopenhauer believed that much of what we call love is simply the will disguising itself as meaning. Attraction, attachment, obsession, all driven by forces beneath awareness. We feel chosen, but we are compelled. We feel special, but we are participating in something impersonal. This does not make love false. It makes it tragic. What disturbed many of his readers was not the darkness of his conclusions, but the clarity. He did not accuse people of being weak. He accused existence of being structured in a way that guarantees dissatisfaction. That idea was intolerable to cultures built on progress and hope. And yet, the modern world seems to confirm him. Endless consumption, endless stimulation, endless striving, and still, a sense that something is missing. Still, a quiet fatigue beneath everything. Schopenhauer believed most people never confront this directly. They anesthetize themselves through work, entertainment, noise, ambition, identity. They stay busy enough to avoid noticing the cycle. But avoidance does not dissolve the will. It only delays awareness. The most unsettling part of his philosophy is not that suffering exists, but that it does not need meaning to persist. It does not teach. It does not redeem. It simply continues. And yet, Schopenhauer did not believe despair was the end. He believed that seeing clearly was the beginning of honesty, not happiness, honesty. To recognize the limits of desire is not to escape suffering, but to stop being surprised by it. Art, compassion, and moments of quiet awareness, he argued, can temporarily loosen the grip of the will, not permanently, not heroically, but enough to glimpse what it feels like to exist without constant wanting. This was his mercy, subtle, fragile, unspectacular. Arthur Schopenhauer understood human suffering too well because he did not promise escape. He promised recognition. He looked at the restless modern soul and said quietly, without comfort or condemnation, "This is not a personal failure. This is what it means to be alive." And once you see that, you can no longer pretend you didn't. That realization changes something subtle but irreversible. Because once suffering is no longer treated as a mistake, you stop fighting shadows. You stop chasing explanations that were never meant to satisfy. You begin to see how much of modern life is built around denying what Schopenhauer quietly accepted. We are encouraged to optimize ourselves endlessly, improve, upgrade, refine, as if the next adjustment will finally quiet the unease, as if the right routine, the right mindset, the right version of yourself will bring rest. But the will does not rest, it only redirects. Schopenhauer would have recognized our obsession with self-improvement not as hope, but as desperation disguised as discipline, a refusal to accept limits, a belief that exhaustion means you are doing something wrong, rather than seeing that exhaustion is the natural consequence of endless wanting. Modern culture tells you that suffering must be meaningful. That pain is valuable only if it leads somewhere. Schopenhauer rejected this completely. To him, suffering did not need a lesson. It did not need purpose. It simply was. And demanding that it justify itself only added another layer of frustration. This is why his philosophy feels so threatening. It removes the narrative comforts people rely on. It does not say, "This will make you stronger." It does not say, "This will pass." It does not say, "Everything happens for a reason." It says something far colder and far more honest. Life does not owe you coherence. Schopenhauer believed that most people instinctively flee these moments. They reach for distraction immediately. Noise, screens, conversation, stimulation, anything to restore the familiar rhythm of wanting, because stillness reveals too much. But in those rare moments of stillness, when desire loosens its grip, something strange happens. The world becomes quieter. Objects lose their urgency. The self softens. For a brief moment, you are not reaching forward or pulling away. You are simply here. He did not call this happiness. He did not romanticize it. He saw it as relief, temporary, fragile relief, a suspension of the endless demand to become something else. This is why Schopenhauer's philosophy, despite its darkness, is not nihilistic. It does not say nothing matters. It says suffering is not unique to you, and that realization, while uncomfortable, can be strangely grounding. He did not offer salvation. He offered lucidity. Arthur Schopenhauer understood human suffering too well because he refused to soften it into something palatable. He looked directly at the machinery beneath human life and described it without flinching. And once you recognize that machinery at work inside yourself, you cannot unsee it. You may still desire, you may still strive, you may still suffer, but you will no longer mistake any of it for a personal failure. You will understand it for what it is. And that understanding, while it does not save you, may be the first moment you stop being surprised by your own existence.